Do you like to binge watch TV? Did you know you could binge listen to podcasts? Head over to electronicmediacollective.com, where they have podcasts for days. You like podcasts about wrestling? They have that. Do you like podcasts about TV and film? They have that. Do you like podcasts about horror? EMC has that too. Do you like comedy? Do you like books? Guess what? They've got you covered. Head over to electronicmediacollective.com. Pick your favorite podcast today.
Hey, this is Doug Jones, and you are listening to Moose's Monster Mash.
You're listening to Moose's Monster Mash.
Welcome, Horror Hounds, to an all-new episode of Moose's Monster Mash. I'm your host, Moose. My wedding anniversary is this month, so I thought I'd check out the newest horror romance that everyone's talking about. Some might say they're obsessed. I'm talking about Curry Barker's film Obsession, starring Michael Johnson as Bear, Indy Navarrete as Nikki, Cooper Tomlinson as Ian, and Megan Lawless as Sarah. Now, the official synopsis is Baron Bear Bailey, say that 3 times fast, breaks a novelty charm to force his coworker Nikki Freeman to love him, but the supernatural compulsion warps her mind into violent obsession, trapping him in a nightmare he cannot wish away. Dun dun dun. Now, let's take a look into my thoughts on this in a nice spoiler-free review. To start with, I can definitely see why everyone's talking about this film. It's Barker's take on the classic monkey paw tale delivers on all fronts. He really captures the human spirit in this not boy gets girl, but boy wants girl story. And we'll touch on it more shortly, but his characters are very well written and very well portrayed, and you find yourself relating to each one in a different way. And the story is that perfect roller coaster ride that takes just a little bit to get you to the top of that first big hill, but once you're up there, watch out. You're in for one hell of a ride. You'll laugh, you might get scared, but when it's over, you're definitely glad you took that ride. Now, I said we'd touch on the characters a little bit, and I want to, before we get into the movie itself, I want to go over each of the 4 main characters, really. And let's start with Bear. Michael Johnson's Bear is your typical unassuming, shy retail clerk. He's that nervous, just kind of frumpy guy. He lives alone. He hangs out with his friends. Just some dude. He's actually kind of a boring guy, actually. But Johnson manages to bring life into this very dull character and make him relatable, exciting, and a little eerie, which works for the story. He loves a girl from afar. He wants to buy her a gift. He sees the wish instead, and boom, we are off. That's when Johnson really gets to shine in this character. He goes from this unassuming guy to someone who's on edge all the time, kind of walking on eggshells, not knowing what kind of interaction with Nikki he'll have next. You get to see him act happy, confused, scared, terrified. Hell, his range of emotion alone is worth watching this film. He has quite the character development in this movie. His journey kind of feels like a journey of self-discovery and one of regret, with like this overarching theme of, oh my God, was it worth it? He's this guy who's seeking the love of his life and is willing to do anything for it. His friend Sarah's played by Megan Lawless. Sarah is, this aspiring art student who, she's kind of the glue in their little friend group. And I don't have a whole lot to say about Sarah. It's neither good nor bad. She reminds me of every female friend I've ever had in my life. She's thoughtful, caring, blunt when necessary. And Lawless executes that brilliantly. She's there when the characters, need a shoulder to lean on. She's there when you need that kick in the ass. That's the kind of character that Sarah is. And Megan Lawless is the perfect casting for that role. Nikki, played by Inde Navarrete, it's not really the girl next door, but I'd say she's definitely the girl the guys want. Seems to kind of have a carefree attitude and knows exactly what she wants until the wish happens. And then she just has one thing on her mind, and that's Bear. And again, this is where you really get to see the casting and the writing shine. The way Navarrete seamlessly switches between mindsets in this film is nothing short of amazing. She can go from happy to psycho in the blink of an eye. It's great to watch, and it's incredibly realistic. If you're a wrestling fan, she reminds me of AJ Lee. And for those who aren't wrestling fans, I'll explain. She's bubbly and happy one moment, and then the next moment she has a smile that means she's going to hurt you. And she has that little bit of crazy. And as the movie goes further, we see her ramp up that psycho to sometimes comedic heights. But overall, I would never want to be on this character's bad side. It's fun. It was fun watching her play this. Just, there's times where she's almost like an obedient dog. And I would love a chance to ask her about how she went into this role, because just watching her, like I said, bounce between these emotions and mindsets was nothing short of just awe-inspiring. Because she just one minute she's happy and she's just talking to you all nice and normal, but then she could be crying or screaming, or she's ready to kill for you, or just anything, just like that. Moving on to the last member of the friends group is Ian, played by Cooper Tomlinson. And he's kind of your typical frat bro. He likes to party. He's got all the answers on how to get the girls, blah, blah, blah. And the way Tomlinson plays him, and I think the way he's written, kind of makes you, or at least me, want to punch him in the face. And I think that's a win. It invokes a response from the viewer. You're invested in the character. He can come across as a caring best friend, but you kind of get a sense that there's more there that he's hiding, and his smugness and his just I know everything demeanor is a very punchable feature, which I love about this character. Because, let's face it, we all know somebody like that. Hell, I'm probably somebody like that most of the time. I guess my thoughts and review on the film itself. Like the synopsis says, it's about a guy who makes a wish for love, but it backfires. Bear has a crush on Nikki for a long time, but can't quite get up the nerve to tell her, despite prompting and pushing from his friend Ian. He finds a way to wish for it, and his and everybody else's life is changed forever. He immediately starts to regret his wish. His friends think Nikki is being taken advantage of, And in the midst of all this, there's secrets spilling out from inside the friend group. You know, honestly, if you take away the supernatural element of this story could be any teen relationship drama. But I think that's where the movie really hits a home run, is that it's so believable. The characters are real. The scenery is familiar. It's your job. It's your house. It's your friend's house. You know, it's not some unrealistic place. It's a familiar vibe, but with a magical twist. Getting to watch the interactions between Johnston and Yvette throughout the whole film were pure cinematic gold, and a great look at toxic relationships, which, you know, not really something you think about for horror films, but it's really at the baseline. It's what this is. It's a very toxic relationship. You know, you can't change a person into something they're not. And Obsession shows you a very exaggerated look at what happens when you try. It also serves as a reminder to be careful what you wish for, as it could ruin a perfectly good thing right under your nose. Is Obsession scary? Yes and no. No in the traditional horror sense of being scared, I guess, would be the best way to put it. Though it does have some pretty solid jump scares throughout. Where it really hits a home run is showing the terror of a person could go through if they were to lose their free will and weren't able to control what they were doing. And for all of that and everything we just talked about, I give this movie 4.5 out of 5 moose heads. It is a solid story with great rewatchability potential. And it's very, very well made. My hat's off to the cast and crew of Obsession for such a good film. And if you haven't watched it yet and you want to watch it, it's available for streaming now. You should go check it out. While you're checking things out, be sure to check out our sponsors, Ink Union Tattoo Company and Greenlight Naturals. Links will be in the episode description. And be sure to check out me and other great podcasters over at electronicmediacollective.com and me over on Facebook at Moose's Monster Mash and on YouTube at Moose Media Inc. All links will be in the episode description. And until next time, Horror Hounds, mash on.
This has been Moose's Monster Mash. Come back for more chills and thrills if you dare.